All right, so check it out. It's been a minute since I made one of these videos. What's happening, everybody? Hope everybody's straight. Great question, right? A lot of stuff be happening really quickly during the day, as you can imagine. The market's going up and down. So I wanted to give a recap on one of the trades that I put in the chat today, and that was on Activision Blizzard. We got a good question right here from Nick Jones. What price targets, resistance levels are you looking at for this Activision play? I'm going to try to see if I can chart the same levels. My watch and pre-market at open. And that's good to be thinking about that. So really quickly, recap. Today at 2:07, I put something in the chat. And what I put in the chat was really quickly a very interesting entry point for Activision Blizzard. I'm going to make it big right now. And I drew a line right here. I'll show you why I drew this line like a little more interactively, but really quickly and trying to zoom in on it. Look at it like this, right? This Activision Blizzard, this was an all-around ugly day, especially right around here, like kind of the low of the market for a lot of, companies that did really well last year, right? Essentially tech companies, right? Activision Blizzard was one of those companies, right? You have a high of, over like maybe 110 or so. I'm gonna put it on the real chart, but I drew a line right here to show that, since the beginning of the year, it has not gone below this point, right? Here it didn't go below, 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 or here, since really here, right? And as a result, what that was its support level. A support is kind of like anything, broad support, back support is helping keep it stable, right? In this case, the support itself is the prices are not going below that. Therefore, that's a support. And the resistance level is, a height where it's not going above it. Support is not going below. And so right here, I drew this line. I'm like, oh, it's very interesting to get right here. So on the day when it's a lot of stuff going on, sometimes you could just try to find an interesting play. So looking at this right here, right, this is the actual interactive chart. As you can see, after hours is up. Oh, it's cracking. After hours, it's up 5.4%. When I sent you the picture, it was only up 3%. So it's super lit. But nonetheless, let's look back. So I drew this line. And if you understand right here, that means it's at that low point, right? It hadn't gone this low since December. So for me, it's like this is truly the support, right? And the reason why is, one, when you look at a chart like this, is like, okay, what catalyst can help make it go above this point quicker? And what the catalyst was earnings, right? Activision Blizzard has been on one of our top ideas because what were the kids doing over this whole thing? Playing games, 2K and Call of Duty. Those are the two big games that everybody plays. Activision Blizzard owns Call of Duty, right? Little kids love it. And as a result, I'm like, I don't believe because the economy's opening back up, people are going to stop playing their video games. That's just something kids been doing since the beginning of time, or people in general. It ain't just kids. All of the homies play it too, right? So at that moment, I was like, all right, I'm going to more likely than not buy it. Now what I did was said, I already own the stock. So sometimes what I do to try to just make a play is like I might buy a call option. But in any case, when I put something like that in the chat, like it's a very interesting buy. It's a good time to buy it because I believe the stock is going to go up, right? This is when I had put this in the chat. Like, oh, this is a good time to go in. And then I said what I bought. But remember, if you go to best ideas, it's already in there, right? And another thing, in order to find the catalyst, what I was saying was like, look at this. We talked about this several times. You go to the earnings chart. This is Activision Blizzard right here. Lyft. I also mentioned Lyft was very interesting today too. But that's what I did. And so when I put the order in, because we had a couple people saying, what's very important, is preservation of capital, right? So not often, I'm going to tell you right now, when you come into options, unless you really, really know something, don't really risk more than, 1-2% of your overall portfolio, just so that, you don't lose sight of kind of what you're doing, right? That's how I like to look at it, right? You can use this for just kind of short-term wins, but Activision Blizzard is a long-term, right? So if you're buying it, cool, long-term hold. But if it's for an option, those are a little riskier, so that's when it comes to options. But really quickly, one of the things that I mentioned was that, let me go back to this chart because this is something I want to show y'all. Was in the chat when I actually told you the order I put in. So I'm like, you know what? I just bought 4 Activision Blizzards. These are May 21st, $87 calls at $3.25 with the stop on the quote at $3. So this is what this is, and then I'll show you how I got that math. Well, really quickly, actually. So if the price is 325 and I bought 4 of these, that means that it's going to be 325 times 100 because every option represents 100 shares. So it's 325 times 100. Then multiply that by 4 because I bought 4 of the contracts, right? And so that's what I did. But the big thing was like, you know what, from a risk tolerance standpoint, I don't want to lose no money on this, right? So I did 325 times 4. That is what, 650. So $1,300, right? So I put $1,300 in, and even then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna take my risk down even lower, right? I don't want to lose $100, right? And the way I did it was with a stop quote. So let me show you how I did that because I got a lot of people asking. So before I went in, I already bought it. But as soon as I bought it, I went in and I went to the actual line item and I pressed trade. From there, I pressed trade, and then I said, okay, this is the screen I got, right? And so what it is literally a call option, right? I'm selling to close. Originally, in order to buy it, I bought to open. Now I'm selling to close. I will be selling all 4 of them, same expiration, same exact strike price, but here's the thing. What is your price type? So generally speaking, you either buying it one or two ways, market or limit, right? So right now, what I'm trying to do is make sure that if it was to go below a certain point that I predetermined, right, from my own risk assessment, I was going to put a stop quote. So if it went below this certain number, that means to sell it right away. So the number I used was 3, right? So I bought it at like 325, and I was saying I don't want to lose a quarter, or $25 per contract, so $100 total, right? I'm like, I should, in my head, if it fell below, then it could keep going, right? Going back to the graph, I don't even know where the graph went that quick. But going to the graph, it's like if it falls below that support level, then it might just keep going. So what I did was stop on quote. So if it went below $3, as you can see, I only would have lost $100. Like I said, I paid $1,300 for this, and they got like $2 commission. But here's another thing, the duration of the trade. So here's the thing, because Activision was reporting after hours, I could wake up in the morning, it could go one way or another, right? So what I did was duration good for 60 days. So now, luckily, the stock is up. So, I probably made, a couple $100 on this already. But the idea in my head was that in the event I'm wrong and the stock keeps going down, it would go below $3 and I would want to sell immediately. So I put good for 60 days, which keeps the market going overnight, everything for 60 days, right? If it's good for the day, your order's instantly over at 3 p.m. Central, 4 p.m. Eastern, right? And so that's what it was, right? So that's how you do that. So just to come back full circle, right? We had the question on, that was the original question. I don't know where the whole graph just went. But nonetheless, are you looking for, okay, so actually I'm going to pause it. All righty. So the question that we had originally in the chat was, what are the resistance levels? In other words, we're saying, how far do I think this stock can go, right? And this is what we're going to do. So I told you how far low I was willing to take it. Now let me tell you exactly, or better yet, how I would think about how high it can go, right? So it's up 4% after hours. One thing I would do is just purely looking at it. I'm thinking up here, right? Well, actually, I'll go here. This is the highest it can go. Like in a short-term period, it's 98. But that's just the eye test, right? Because one, it originally tried to get past 95 and couldn't. And then the next one would be 98, right? Wrapped around here. But that's just, the eye test. What I would do now is actually throw the Fibonacci in there. And we talked about Fib. We already know the relationship in nature, numbers, everything. But once again, what I'm doing now is Fibonacci taking the most recent high point to the most recent low point, right? The most recent high point is right here. Most recent low point is right here, made today, right? And so at the very first, the very first level will be right here, $93. and it's actually already there. That's what happened, because the last video here, now this is happening in real time. A little earlier in this video, it was already above 5. And as you can see, it's right now having a hard time getting above it, right? This is at 93.81. When I say up, when I said 5%, I meant it was already higher in price. So as you can see, the very first resistance level is right here. So this happened in real time, $93.81. This is the extended hours. So the stock is trading right now as we speak. That's the resistance level there, right? And as you can see, it had a hard time trying to get by it. If it gets through it, the next level will be $95 and so forth. Next level will be 98. But like I say, I do believe it could get back here at some point. But naked eye, I'm thinking it gets, it'll run to this $98. And that's how you look at that trade. So I hope that helped real quick. Let's get it.